Attention, please, for just a second. This is a very special day at the University of Maryland because we have two of the greats with us for this chat with the legends. And we'd like to ask, if we can, keep the noise level down, especially in the back there. If you want to chit-chat or so, you can maybe step out in the hallway. But give us your undivided attention for the next 30 minutes as we talk to... Oh, that deserves applause, I guess. That's good. That's good. That's good. We've had these chats with the legends before, and it's always nice. It just brings back so many terrific memories of Maryland basketball games, certain plays, certain players, certain wins, certain tough losses, and it kind of triggers the memories of all of us. And today, we've got a guy that, well, first of all, the coach that really put Maryland on the basketball map and turned things around and won the first ever national championship at the University of Maryland back in 2002. 461 career wins. And for 22 years, I had the pleasure of working alongside the Hall of Fame coach, Gary Williams. Now, I'm not sure he feels the same way, but I love being with Coach Williams for those 22 years.
It was okay.
Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. And then today, we bring back the guy. I was just thinking yesterday, he came here in 2006 from Montrose Christian, where he played for Coach Stu Vetter. 2006, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Left as the ACC's Player of the Year. Bob Cousy Award for the best point guard in America. The guy who overcame so many obstacles to make Maryland so relevant in basketball. All ACC, All-American, first-round pick in the NBA, and he's back today to join you guys and have us talk a little bit about his career. I can think of a lot of adjectives to describe him: personable, dynamic, focused, intense, charismatic, but nothing can say it better than I have my Spanish book in front of me when I say, "Eres mi jugador favorito, Greivis Vasquez."
Terp Talk is brought to you by Viner Consulting.
Gracias, Johnny, gracias.
Gracias. Now, Greivis is going to say, what did he say? I said in Spanish, I need some money. Hey, Coach, let's start off. The memories have to be so full for you with this guy and what he did for this program.
Without a doubt, from the first day, Greivis had that thing that very few players have. There's a lot of talented basketball players out there, but Greivis had this thing where his enthusiasm for life in the game, and a lot of times you can't disconnect those two things. Greivis was incredible. Every day in practice, he'd be come bouncing in, and if I had a bad day in the office or something like that, he would pick everybody up, and that was just his personality. But then the other thing that Greivis brought, I mean, that's one thing, but for the team, his work ethic, when your best player works as hard as anybody and is your hardest working player in your team, then the other guys have to come along, and it makes your job as a coach very easy. But I think the biggest thing that I saw in Greivis right away when he was playing at Montrose Christian was he wanted to win above everything else. In other words, if he only scored 2 points but the team won, Greivis was happy, and there's not a lot of guys like that. And so that really built us during that period that Greivis was here.
Your turn.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you guys for having me over here. You guys don't know how much this means to me. Thank you. I continue to say it over and over and over again. It changed my life. It really changed my life. I mean, from the moment I came to the United States to right now, I'm a different Greivis. And one of the biggest things that made the most impact in my life were my 4 years that I spent at the University of Maryland. It's a true story. I know, Troy, you know, there's some music going on right now, so I like to party. I like to party, so Coach didn't know that side about me.
Yeah, I know. I never knew that. Yes, I did. Yeah.
I'm Latino, so you know, you guys.
Yeah, we know.
So, I truly believe my life. I'm a different Greivis. Like I say, I needed this. I needed this weekend. I needed to be next to a man that trusted me from the moment that I got here at school. I needed to be with you guys. I need to recharge my batteries. I'm going through a tough time. You all know how much I love to play the game of basketball, and not be able to play basketball right now because I gotta get healthy is one of the toughest things I ever done in my career. I love this game so much, and he knows better than I do because he was the one that really taught me how to play the game of basketball. You know, believe in me. And to be here is gonna be it's something that you guys don't know. I needed it. I needed it so much. You guys don't know how motivated I am right now. Not only to get back to the court and playing basketball, just to do the right thing. Because it's hard when you're not doing what you love, which is play basketball.
And Coach, you let him play. I mean, he had such terrific talent, number one, but you molded that talent into something to make him better than he ever probably imagined he could possibly be. And there was a special relationship, at least I think there was, you've had with certain players in your years of coaching, and you had a special relationship with Greivis.
Well, I did. And you hear coaches say all the time, well, I treat all my players the same. I never did, Greivis, he was special. I always tell Greivis, we have this thing, like if I would have grown up in Venezuela, I would have been Greivis. I had the same temperament, the same, personality around the game. The reason I went into coaching was because I wasn't a very good player, coming out of college, and there was no place to go play. And so I went into coaching, and I never thought really about being a coach, but once I saw where my playing career was headed, that's why I went into coaching. And I tried to bring my love for the game as a player into coaching. And that's why I think Greivis would be a great coach if it ever goes that way, because he can put into his players how he feels about the game. And that's, to me, as important as any play you run or, other things you do basketball-wise.
Well, I'm going to call you every night to give me your playbook.
I'll tell you what, I'd love you to call me
I'm
every night.
running that two-play.
Two-play, that's right. No, this is the one. That was the one.
Oh, that was the one for us. That was the one for us.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I wouldn't grew up in New Jersey, I wouldn't be Gary Williams.
Greivis would have been great in Jersey, believe me. He would have been great.
Hey, so it's a true story. You guys know I never took any visit to any other school. Look at what happened to me. I was doing my homework at the house that I was staying in Rockville, Maryland. So I'm watching this game on ESPN, Duke against University of Maryland. So I didn't know anything about college basketball. I didn't know anything about the University of Maryland, but I seen Coach yelling and going hard and looking at all his assistant coaches, and I go, I want to play for that man. I say that in Spanish. That was a Spanish thought. I want to play for him. And then ever since I watched that game, I never took any visit. I didn't want to go anywhere else. My heart from that moment was here at Maryland. And you know what happened? I spent the next 4 years with this man right here next to me.
And Gary, what he did, at least from our perspective, the way he played rubbed off on the other guys, too. I mean, he wasn't about to lose games. He hated to lose games.
Right. That was the most important thing. Greivis just refused. Even if we lost the game, we were going to win the next game, and that was always his attitude. If he had a bad practice, and he had a couple, if he had a bad practice, the next practice would be a great practice, and that gets into the team. But the other thing that gets into the team is just the idea that every day in practice is a chance to get better as a basketball team, and I thought we did a good job when. Especially Greivis' senior year, we weren't very good early. We had Dino Gregory suspended by the school for the first semester, but by the time Dino came back, and we had kept the best thing we did during that time when we weren't great, we kept working. We never stopped working. And so sometimes when you're that close to it on the practice floor, you don't see yourselves getting better. But we were getting better all the time. And then we got Dino back, and Greivis started to play. He went through an amazing stretch of games, probably as good of games in big games we had to win of any player I ever coached.
89 of your coaching wins he was part of. 89 wins here at the University of Maryland. Let's talk about some of the games that you played that really stood out in your mind. Games that might have been tough and you guys pulled it out, and games that what you thought you had, like one in Spokane in the NCAA tournament against the team we play today, with 6.6 seconds to go in that game, and a guy, if he's out of position, one of the most heartbreaking losses this team has ever suffered.
Well, it was tough. It was a tough loss. But I have a few games. I remember one practice, coach was telling me and Rob Eason at the time, I think you can make an impact without shooting the ball. So he didn't know what he was telling me. I'm a competitor, and everything he said, I took it to heart. Like everything he was telling me, I was always going back. I was thinking deep. Was like, what is he trying to tell me? And I always thought Rob Eason was my guy. I said, Rob. So he's telling me not to shoot? Okay. So the next game we played in NC State, packed house. I said, I'm going into the game telling Rob, you're telling I'm not gonna shoot. Remember that?
Yeah,
I got 17 assists. Right, we won the game. I scored like 8 points. I had to score. I was wide open in like 3 or 4 layups. So I have to score, and I go back. I told you I wasn't gonna shoot the ball. So he got the next practice. He was like, Greivis, you gotta understand. You got to score for us. I didn't say you don't have to shoot. So to me, that was a great memory because everything he said, every word that came out of his mouth was so meaningful to me. Like. At the time, I was obviously much younger, but like if I can describe somebody that really teach me how to not only be a player, but to be a good person, it'll be him. People didn't really know what Coach William was all about. He was the most mellow guy. I used to go to his office and talk about. I don't think about I think we did a couple times. But we talk about so many different things but basketball, and that was our relationship. It was more than basketball. Even in nowadays, it means something. So like this game in Virginia Tech, a beer truck hit a water.
Sure, yeah, waterman, yeah.
And then we spent like 5 hours to play the game, and I'm gonna tell how it is. You guys know I'm crazy. So we go downstairs, and Coach Williams is going crazy because he's very particular about his game plan and all that stuff. So I'm just listening to music and all that, watching a series on my computer. So all of a sudden it was 4 people in the building to a packed house because everybody couldn't get there for free, right? They had a free ticket to get because what happened.
Right.
So we have, I don't know, 10,000, 12,000, 18,000, I don't even remember. So it was packed 5 hours after. So every time that I got the ball, so I tell my teammates, I usually did this without him knowing. I say, we're gonna win today. I don't know what we're gonna win today. And I used to tell the media at the time, we're gonna win tomorrow. It's gonna be an easy win. And he used to be mad at me because I used to tell that, and I put my teammates in a situation where, sometimes it's a little bit risky. It's a little selfish, I say that. I learned that. So we start playing the game in Virginia Tech. And every time I got the ball, they started booing me. Ooh, ooh.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. So I got fired up. I'm going through my game plan. I was like, are they serious? Okay, cool. So I start slamming the floor. I start getting an Eric Hayes ball, telling Lando Milburn, give me the ball, call the play, call this play. And I start hitting shots. So they start calling green car. And I was like, no way. So I give it to them. I scored 41 points.
Yeah. 104-100 win, double overtime.
But this is the most important part about the story. I go quick. we're going back to the locker room. I do all these interviews, all the fancy stuff that you want to do when you're in college because you want to be cool, So I'm doing all these interviews, and I'm going downstairs. He's doing his press conference, and we all I couldn't believe it. So I'm sitting down, I'm looking down. Everybody's happy, unbelievable. We won this game on the road. And I was like, I'm thanking God. I'm like, God, you're amazing. I can't believe you gave me this. You just do it your way, God. Thank you. And I'm praying, and I'm being thankful. And all of a sudden, Coach Williams walked in. And he started talking. So he say, I've been in big games. I coach big games. I've been in the Final Four. I won an NCAA title. But I've never been in this type of situation, this type of game. This is one of the best games I ever coached, and I've been in. So I started crying inside of me because I told you at the beginning, every word that came out of his mouth, I took it to heart. So everything he said, it was meaningful to me. It means something. So for him to say that in front of all of us, when our center was Dave Neal, and we able to win that game. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable.
The thing
Is Dave here
the thing
today?
that really impressed me with that game against Virginia Tech, we had to win that game, number one, because we wound up tying with Duke for the ACC championship that year. So we had to win that game. Greivis played 48 out of the 50 minutes because it was a double overtime game. And no player does that today. I mean, that's just an amazing thing that he did to get us to that point. And that stretch of games, I thought Greivis was incredible. The game against Duke, Duke won the national championship that year, but we tied him for, the ACC championship. And Greivis hit that running. You might have seen it up here.
You taught me that shot. Though.
Yeah, that running half-hook jump shot that you made from the corner, which that's one of those things when you're coaching, you stand up and you think, nah, maybe you better not take that thing. And way to go, Greivis.
Well, how about the shimmy, Coach? We all love the shimmy.
The shimmy.
The shimmy.
Greivis, just now that you're here. See, you don't know. I mean, we were obviously very close, but you don't know how many people I had to almost fight because of your shimmy. Because everybody, and there's probably some people here, they'd go, how come you can't keep him from doing that after he scores? I go, you want to give that a shot yourself? And, because that was, but see, this is what you have to understand. We all grow up differently. Wherever we grow up. And that was part of your culture. That's how it was when you did something good, and it's kind of a soccer thing, thinking about it now. And since I was a head soccer coach for 6 years, I kind of appreciated it.
Well, and that was like, those 4 years were important to me because sometimes people couldn't understand me, but he always did. So sometimes it was hard. Sometimes even I have a really hard time with my own fans at the beginning. Remember, I was like, what is he doing that? And that's part of who I am, where I came from. I came from nothing, and I had only one shot to make it. And I remember sometimes going to class. I have a sociology class where one of the classes were all about me and my behavior and my actions during games. So I was like, what is people talking about me? I mean, I didn't understand. It was just because I thought it was normal. I just wanted to express my emotions in a way that I care about the school. I care about what we're doing. I'm committed. And my work ethic and my will is showing you guys that. I mean, I hated Duke as much as you hated too.
Greivis was the best I've ever seen of all the players I had at all the places I coached, even before I came to Maryland. Greivis did the best job of anyone of going to a professor and talking to the professor and telling him how much he liked his class. And, he was tremendous. And let me just say this, very serious about Greivis. Greivis came here from Montrose Christian. He had to take some courses his first semester that were English as a second language course, and they counted toward eligibility, but they didn't count toward your degree. Greivis still graduated in 4 years, which is incredible.
But you know what? I'll tell you this, and this is another true story. This is important. At the time, I had a relationship with him, but it was my freshman year, so I'm like, I didn't come here I didn't come here to take English as a second language. I don't want to be here. That's not me. And this is a true story. I was really upset. Like I felt like I wasn't The program wasn't valuing me. Like, I came here to play basketball, but I didn't understand at the time how important it was for me. So, coach, all the coaches, Troy is around here. I remember Troy getting on my butt. Troy was the only one that was, he was just telling me how it is. He used to tell me how it is. He was the one like really telling me, hey, you can't do that. He keep me on my toes, and you need people like that. And to me, that was the toughest time in my career in college, because imagine taking English as a second language for one semester. So I was really discouraged. I didn't want to play. I was homesick. I wanted to go back home. I wanted to play overseas. But Coach William and his staff and everybody at school, you know, kept me going and really taught me well. So then I was very smart. Then I told the teachers, you know what? I'm gonna do my part. So I started going to class with a different attitude, taking the classes, you know, being friendly, and I started playing some good games. So you know what? I was smart enough to tell the teachers, like, you know what? I'll give you tickets to the game. I give you tickets to the game. But I mean, you know, I have my family here, so I have four tickets right at the time. You get 4 or 3 tickets. So I said, I just give you tickets. Bring your family, watch me play, read the diamond bag, everything is cool, and teach me how to speak English.
Jerry Greivis, how about senior night against Duke? 79-72, you beat Duke right here, and you had 20 points. 20 points in that game.
You know, we won that game. You know, we had a great season way before that. I mean, summertime, coach did a good job hiring a coach named Paul Ritchie, our strength and conditioning coach. He did an amazing job with the whole team. Like I say, I love Dave Neal. That's my brother. He was our center. And then we have Jordan Williams. And while we went through that summer of work and getting better, the preparation, his will to coach, to make the right decisions were important. We didn't have a great year just because I was good, or because we were good players, or because he's a great coach, a legend, a Hall of Famer. We had a great year because what Gary did all his years, especially our years, is the way you prepare yourself. It's how you get ready for games. You gotta stay ready. And the preparation level helped me tremendously to be what I'm at right now and at the level that I'm playing, because you guys know I can't even dunk. I barely dunk here twice my whole 4 years. So, but that game was all about the identity that our coach reflected on us. That was his game, you know, and we just went out there and do what he asked you to do. We were listeners. We listened. We wanted to win. I'll tell you a story. That game was important to me, but one of the games I really remember, I was having a tough game at first. I think we won that game in overtime, the North Carolina game, when I had a triple-double. He is one of those times that he really got on me. You know, he really didn't get on me like people think he did. He really teach me how to play the game, but not by yelling at me or cussing at me. Nah, that's not how he did it. He did it the right way, and he shows in my career. I played 7.5 years in the NBA. I'm still an active player, and I played 25 minutes again. I led the whole league in assists. I was a player of the week in the Western Conference, where you had Kobe, KD, Westbrook, all these players, Chris Paul. So I had to be taught the right way. So I remember playing against North Carolina here when I had the triple-double. One of the times we were losing by 10, 12 points in the second half, or in the first half. And he called a timeout just to address me. He goes like, "You don't believe, right? You don't believe we're gonna win." You know how he gets. You don't believe. And I'm like, I was playing like I didn't believe I was gonna win. And you need people like that. He called me out. And he just called a timeout just to call out his best player. He called me out in front of everybody. You don't believe. And that you don't believe was my gasoline, was my motivation. I ended up getting a triple-double because the man in 30 seconds, you know, it just taught me something different. It was like, yo, you're doing it the wrong way. And we ended up winning the game that, you know, it's a history, it's a legend game for us, because I got a triple-double and we won against the team that probably won the championship.
They won the championship that year too. I remember the timeout, and I'm thinking coming in, you know, a lot of times when you call timeout, you go, well, call timeout, I better have something to say, you know, that I called timeout. And so I knew if I got on, we had played really well to start. I think you scored the first 16 points in that game.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he scored the first 16 against
Gary, was
North
that the
Carolina.
35-point game?
That's the national. That team won the national championship for North Carolina, but that was his junior year. And anyway, so they're coming in to the huddle. So I'm thinking, like, if I get on Greivis really hard, because we had hit a spot where we just couldn't play anymore, and I'm thinking they're going to beat us by 20 or something like that. So I had nothing to lose. If you get on your best player, if you get on a player who the other players know has worked so hard to get to this point in their career where they can play like this, a triple-double against the national champions, then I'm very serious. But the other thing is they get mad at me because I'm yelling at Greivis, okay? Because Greivis is their guy. And so we go out and we play our butts off after that, and probably because Greivis was a mature enough person to take the criticism, that really helped, because that's a gamble when you're a coach, because when you do that in a 30-second timeout, everybody starts looking around at each other and like, I'm not sure I like this or whatever. And for our team, I knew how good we were when we went out and played like we did after that.
Freshman year, Greivis averaged 9 points a game. Started like 23, 24 games in your freshman year. Then you wound up averaging 19 a game when you were a senior. In your eyes, Coach, when did you realize that you not only had a special player who would become the only guy in the ACC to score 2,000 points, have 700 rebounds, 600 assists, and would wind up as the second all-time leading scorer, which he still is today, here at the University of Maryland?
Thank you, thank you.
Well, I think, statistics are funny because sometimes they're a little skewed and they don't really tell the story. But the ones you just read, Johnny, I think it's very important to know how important it was for Greivis as a guard, as a point guard, to be a rebounder for us. Because during Greivis' time, we didn't have the biggest teams. And, when you have a guy like Dave Neal that doesn't get up real high, and so all those things are there. But see, the assists are missed sometimes. I think that's the assist. That's the statistic that a lot of times people don't understand how important that is. If Eric Hayes is open for a jump shot, Eric's got to get the ball right when he's open, because when you're playing against a good team, that's not very long. Landon Milburn, all those guys, Adrian Bowie and that team, Cliff Tucker, those guys really learned how to play because of playing with Greivis. When you play with a great player that really knows how to play the whole game, not just shoot the ball or whatever, that rubs off on you as a player. You find out how to get open. You know how to set a screen, and then after you set the screen, to be open. And that was all part of Greivis' game. He continued to make us better during his career.
We've got about 5 more minutes here, Greivis, so maybe you can talk a little bit about the difference. You talked to the players yesterday. A very emotional, to-the-point speech you gave this basketball team yesterday at the shoot-around. You told them about playing with passion and playing with pride. And it's a business once you get out of here, and how wonderful it is to play at the college level. Then you go to the NBA, it's a whole different ballgame, different story. It's a business.
Well, I started out telling you guys I came from nothing. And being what I'm at, I'm very thankful. I thank God for putting me in this situation, for surrounding myself with great people like you guys, great coaches, great persons, great human beings. And I'm telling these kids yesterday, these players, I say, I'm watching you guys, and I'm angry. I get angry. And sometimes you gotta tell her how it is. Sometimes you gotta be political, but some other time you gotta tell the truth. I'm angry because it's been a year and a half without me playing basketball. And it's not about money at all, because that's why I got an education. It's about how much you love the game that giving you so much. I have a great breakfast with the people that pay my scholarship. Changed my life, I can make an impact in my community by giving back. Not only here in the States, but back in Venezuela as well. That's how much impact you make if you do the right things when nobody's watching. So I'm telling these kids yesterday, man, you're looking like you're not having fun. As school, as the University of Maryland, we have an identity. We created an identity. We are passionate. We do everything with passion. We're not afraid of failure. We consistent, and we show an effort. You know, that's our identity. We move forward no matter what. We do the right things. So we want to see an effort. We want to see passion. We want to expect win every game because it's really hard to expect to win every game. But you gotta show the name of the jersey you're wearing on your chest and put it on your chest and represent it. Because I did it every night and night out, practices, school. So, thank you. So I'm telling them, and Johnny was there, I'm telling them, you know what's hard? Life after school. I'm a father now. So it's extremely hard. It's extremely hard when you have to worry about raising your kids, helping your country. You guys, as you guys know, we're going through a crisis right now in Venezuela. And it could be political, it could be not. But as a leader in crisis, you gotta be there and support, especially the youth. And that's what we're doing today with this event we're doing with my foundation. It's very important to utilize this platform that I have to help others and help other communities. So I'm telling these kids, you only have to worry about playing basketball. It's a basketball, it's a game. It's a game. Why would you just represent us? Why would you just go out there and do your best? Put up an effort, yell somebody, do something, make us fired up, because that's who we are. Because when this is over, it's going to be even more difficult to you guys to understand what life is all about. You only got one responsibility, to play basketball and go to school. How hard is that? I mean, honestly, if I can do something, I wish I can have 1 year of eligibility. I wish I can play today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to me, you know, I was a little bit more explicit. You know, I tell them, I give it. I'm sorry, Coach. I learned that.
Where'd you learn that?
So, I mean, it's all about when you see Coach Turgeon being the most fired up guy on the court, that makes you worry. You know what I mean? So I got on their ass. I'm sorry for my language. I'm like, we gotta go. We have to go, because you don't value the things that you have until you lose them. And this is for everybody. You know, I'm not about any money. I'm not about fame. I'm not about any of that. I do business with God. Have you ever heard that God pays back bad or doesn't give you the right payment? You know, I do business with God. God is my guy. So it's all about doing the right thing when nobody's watching. And to me, the opportunity that these kids have today is the most important in their life. And as a former player, I was trying to tell him, don't leave things that you can do today. Don't leave it for tomorrow, because you can get it done today. And that's something that he always told me. He always told me at the middle of the half court, say, Greivis, you can do it right now. Don't waste your time, do it right now. And with that being said, you know, being a leader and helping others, doing all this social work that I do with my foundation, and playing the game of basketball, and being a father, and being a son, and being a friend, is one of the most important things that I ever done in my life. So, nothing else to worry. I'm gonna do my part. We're all doing our part. We're gonna go out there and cheer and support, and we're gonna make these guys fired up. But my purpose of this weekend is not only to see you guys, to recharge my body, but I do whatever it takes to win today's game, because we need that game to turn around the season, and we can make it to the tournament.
Yeah. And with that, let's just say continued success in rehabbing the ankle. We know we're going to see you back in the NBA next year or whenever it is. You're 100%. And we can't begin to thank you for what you did for the University of Maryland. We love you. We will never forget you.
I'll be back. I hope I told Gary, you got to find me a job in a cafeteria somewhere. So I want to be involved with the school. Thank you, guys.
Gary Williams and Greivis Vasquez, thank you guys very much. Let's go down and beat Michigan State now.
Come in, Johnny, so we can take a picture.